I want to continue the conversation around breastfeeding, nursing, pumping, formula, feeding your baby that first year. And I want to give you some practical tips and ways to help feel more empowered during your feeding journey with your baby. And these are things that I've learned the hard way with my 3, and I'm hopeful that it'll be a little helpful and maybe shorten your own journey a little bit in being accepting and empowered, grateful, and just more positive in your feeding journey with baby. Hey mama, are you struggling with how to make time for yourself as a work-at-home mom? Are you drowning in laundry and dishes, poopy diapers, and kids who are constantly screaming, Mom, even though they're 5 feet away from you? I get it. I'm Jessa, and this is Caught Up in Motherhood, where I want to help you set priorities, create boundaries, ask for help, and learn to love yourself in motherhood again. You can show up for you without sacrificing motherhood and without the guilt. So if you're ready to be caught up in motherhood, then go grab a fresh cup of coffee and that laundry basket sitting in the corner. Don't worry, I've got mine too. And listen in to today's episode. So when it comes to feeding your baby, I want to go over a couple of different things that I've learned. I want to talk about some practical tips and tricks that worked for me. And I want to talk about some mindset things that we can do to help with our supply and just help with our mental space and preventing like the anxiety and the negative voices in our head telling us that, you know, our value is in relation to the ounces that we get, and it's not. And I just want to go over those things a little bit more and give you some practical advice on things that we can do to feel more empowered in our nursing, pumping, formula feeding journey with baby. Okay, so these are things that I do, and that worked for me. So maybe they'll work for you. You're not going to know until you try. All right, so the first thing that I always did when I would pump, specifically, we're going to talk about pumping first, because that was the hardest part of feeding my babies, was actually the pumping part. The nursing was difficult for me to get started, but once I got started, I understood what I was doing, and it got so much easier. And then it was more that mental block with nursing. And then with formula, again, that was more mental for me, more of a mental block. But pumping physically was just freaking hard. So I want to talk about some things that I did to alleviate some of those physical issues that I had. So what I would do every time before I would pump is I had these heating pads that are shaped like a C, and you would put it in your bra and you would wear those. And I would put mine on, like, in the microwave for like 10-15 seconds, whatever the suggestion was for the manufacturer, and then I would wear it for about a couple minutes, maybe 5 minutes at most. So I'd put those on, and then I'd put my pump together and get all the pieces together and get it ready to go. And that would roughly take me, let's say 5 minutes, because me personally, because I was only pumping 2-3 times a day, I washed my pump in between every session because I wasn't using it as much as those moms who exclusively breast pumped. And when I was trying to exclusively breast pump, I totally did the whole put it in a bag, put it in the fridge thing. Okay, I totally did that. But here's the thing. The cold, at least for me, makes my body go, nope, not doing nothing. I'm too cold. You know, you get tense and you can't do nothing, right? And that's what they talk about with cold and heat when you're trying to heal the body, is that heat relaxes the muscles, all right? And your breast tissue is muscle tissue. So the heat helps to relax the muscle, relax the milk flow, and everything that's going on, so that way you can get a better letdown. So heat, huge difference, game changer for me. All right. Another thing that I would do pretty regularly is massage. And people would laugh at me all the time about this, but I have this handheld massager, and it is a lactation massager. And I'm very tissuous. So it was super, super helpful to have this thing, because I could literally use this thing like a scoop from like under the armpit over, and you would just see the additional milk just from me using this personal hand massager tool. And it was great. It was like the best, I think, $30-$40 I spent to help with that. And then I would also use it in the shower with hot water, like when I had a clogged duct because it had a like bald point that's like the size of like a marble that you could really use to get into that tissue and really massage it. And then it would vibrate, so it would have that additional piece to it that was so good to help getting things moving and just increase flow. So personal massager, lactation massager, okay, clarification there, lactation massager, and heat were two of the biggest things. The third thing that really changed my pumping experience was getting a different pump. With my first, I went with your standard hospital grade, insurance covered Medela. So my options were Medela or Spectrum, whatever. Those are your options, right? And at the time, 4 or 5 years ago, there wasn't a lot of other options. There were some, but they were all very, very similar in style. And the hand-free pumps were still newer, and they were very expensive. And the insurance companies were not covering them at all. Like, no, we're not doing anything with that. So by the time I had my second, the Elvia Stride had come out. And I think it had come out a couple months before my son was born. My second son was born. And I decided, that's it. I'm buying this one. I'm going to order it. And my insurance at the time was really nice in the fact that they reimbursed for half of it. So I only had to pay half the price for my Elvia Stride. And I think part of that was because Elvia Stride put in that extra work to get certified or approved, whatever the process looks like with the insurance companies and the healthcare field, to say that they were a medical device in that way, so that you could actually get your insurance to at least pay for part of it. It's a huge piece for me. So getting this new style of pump that was just completely different, how it worked, the motor size, all of the things that make these things freaking run, it was just totally different. And it worked so much better for me. And I think a big part of that was my mental space in relation to the physical pump. And we're going to talk about mental in a little bit here. But changing your pump can sometimes help. And hospitals do have rentals, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty much your Spectras and your Medelas. But there are programs out there where you can get discounts on pumps, or you can rent pumps, or you can, share with a friend, trade with a friend, and just buy different pieces and sanitize. There are also groups out there that will donate their milk to other moms in need that might need it. So there are multiple options and solutions out there. We just need to be a little creative in finding them and thinking about what's important to me. Okay, I want my baby to have breast milk, and I would rather have it come from another mom that I'm okay with than give them formula. Okay, that's great. There are programs out there. And if you're one of those moms that has an oversupply, you can donate your milk to those other moms that might need it. So there's always an option. There's always different things that we can do. It's just a matter of thinking about, what am I okay with? What do I want to do? And moving in that direction. But my whole point is, if pumping isn't working for you, one of the options is that you might need to try a different pump. That maybe the one you have isn't right for your body and it isn't working. So changing it up and trying a different pump can help. The other things that you can do here are things that you probably already know about a little bit, but I'm going to add my own little spin here, is of course drinking water. Drinking coconut water, your juices, whatever it is that you need to do to keep your hydration levels up so that you're able to produce more, so you're not dehydrating yourself because of your output that you're trying to produce. And eating. Eating is so important. I am more starving and hungry when I am nursing than when I was pregnant. The calorie intake that you need to have, I think, is about 500 calories more if you're going to count your calories. Personally, I don't. I just give myself an extra snack and try my best to make sure that it's a healthier snack than, let's say, cookies. But my whole point is increasing your calories and having that understanding that you need to increase your calories because you're burning the calories, because you're nursing, because it takes so much energy from your body to nurse, okay? And I understand that there's this societal push to bounce back after baby, and we need to lose the weight and do all of these things and get back to our old body right after baby. And I'm calling BS on that. Right here, right now, I'm calling BS. Because if you're nursing, you cannot cut calories. You can work out, sure, but I would be careful with it because it's going to affect your supply. If you're going to cut calories and you're going to work out, your supply is going to dip. I guarantee it. If you're going to work out, but you're going to increase your calories, and then because you're working out, increase your calories again to make up for the calories you're burning from working out, then you're okay. But if you're working out to lose weight, I would encourage you to wait a little bit. Because I'm not a fitness person here. I'm not a fitness professional, but from my understanding with it, calories in, calories out. If you're burning an excess amount of calories, you need to intake more because you need to maintain that supply. But if your goal is to lose weight, right, you need to lose the calories. So they don't work together. When you think about it, just kind of simplifying it, they don't work. Okay, I'm sorry, but they don't. And nursing burns calories. So you're still burning calories. You can still do some stuff, but I wouldn't go back to like this full-fledged, I need to go to the gym 5 days a week for an hour every day, unless you're okay with the fact that your supply is going to be affected and you're probably going to need to start supplementing. And if you're okay with that, then that's fine, right? This is your body, your choice. This is your baby. You're going to feed your baby in the best way possible that you are comfortable with. And if that is what you need to do for yourself, then do it. Just be aware that it can affect your supply the more you work out because you're not intaking those calories because you're trying to burn calories. And your body needs more calories to maintain that milk supply. Are you feeling lost and overwhelmed in your journey through motherhood? Managing the house, taking care of the kids, and juggling everything in between can be exhausting. You're so tired that even the thought of taking time for yourself feels draining. Instead, you find comfort in mindless scrolling through social media and indulging in snacks hiding in the freezer. While you do this, you constantly beat yourself up and compare yourself to others that you're seeing online, and you wonder why you can't achieve what they do or keep your house as clean as theirs. At the end of the day, you promise yourself that tomorrow will be better. Tomorrow you'll prioritize self-care, go to bed early, or even plan a date night. But tomorrow never comes. You're stuck in the same cycle, expecting different results. I know this feeling all too well. I've been there, lost in moments of self-doubt, wanting to be the best mother for my children, but feeling like I'm falling short. You are not alone, Mama. I see you, and I want to help you break free from these negative thoughts and feelings. I want to see you thrive in your motherhood journey and embrace the season that you're in. Let me be the supportive friend next door who's always there for you, ready with iced coffee and a swaying porch swing. I'm here to guide you through the tough days because, Mama, I've been there too. I understand what you're going through, and it's okay. Your feelings are valid, but it's how we respond to them that shapes our days. That's why I created my Mama Connection coaching. I want to assist mamas like me, mothers who strive to do all and understand that it begins with how they talk to themselves. Mamas who know they're capable but need a little help and encouragement to get started. So what do you say, Mama? Are you ready to knock on my door and reconnect with yourself? Are you ready to feel empowered in motherhood and realize that you've got this? If so, I encourage you to book your Mama Connection coaching call today. Let's make tomorrow a day of progress and growth. The other thing is when you are done nursing, you can go full-fledged, cut the calories, do all the things, and work out how you want to. Again, this is a short period of time. Think about it. It's a couple months to a year, maybe 2 years, depending on your nursing journey and what your goals are. But I think the average is about a year. So let's just talk about that. Like, you're nursing for a year. 1 year out of your entire life, 1 year out of your baby's entire life is going to be nursing. There's plenty of time to do the other things later. To just let this be that bonding time, that nursing time, that moment with your baby and not worry about the other things for a little bit. I know in previous episodes we've talked about healing. When you've had your baby, it took 10 months. It took 9 months to have that baby, to make it that baby. It's going to take that same amount of time, if not a little longer, for your body to heal. Just because you went to the doctor and they gave you your 6 or 8 week checkup and said, yep, you're good to go. That's not true. Your organs still need to move back. Your muscles need to heal. Your body is in recovery mode still, and it takes time. And if we're not nourishing our bodies correctly and getting the right vitamins and proteins in, it's going to take twice as long to heal. So keep that in mind when you're giving yourself a hard time or you're looking in the mirror, it's like, oh, I need to lose this baby weight. Think about the fact that you have that baby and you went through all this and you need to give yourself time to heal. And I know that it's hard. Trust me. I know that it's hard. I was, with my first, the definition of, oh, I'm pregnant. I can eat whatever I want. And I did. And I gained a crap ton of weight with that first pregnancy. And I learned. And with each pregnancy, I gained a little bit less weight. I started out at a lower weight. And now with my third, I had like the healthiest weight gain and weight loss kind of movement here because I learned a lot more as I went on. And my pregnancies were different. My first one, if I didn't eat, I got sick. So it was like I always was munching or snacking on something. And it was always like a protein. I don't know why, but I always had to have some sort of protein. So I always had like jerky in my purse, which was funny, or peanuts. But my whole point here is taking care of your body, taking the time, and letting yourself heal. And just enjoying that time with baby because things change so much in that first year. As soon as you think you got a schedule down or a system down, it changes because baby had a growth spurt, someone didn't sleep at night, someone got sick, whatever, right? Oh, we're in this perfect state that baby's sleeping through the night, their clothes fit, all this stuff, and then all of a sudden they're peeing through every single night. All of a sudden their feet are cramped in their sleepers and you have to change out the clothes, you have to buy the next size up, or you have to do this, or it happens. So just take that first year and be mom as much as you can and don't worry about the working out, the losing weight. Those things will come. Those things will come. All right. I want to talk a little bit next about mindset. So I talked about a little bit what I do when it comes to pumping. And in relation to that was my mindset around it. So when I would put the heat pads on and getting the pump ready, I would have to say these nursing related affirmations to myself and give myself those positive self-talk to be accepting and grateful for what I was able to produce and what I was able to get. Because when I had my first and I would pump, it was dread. I dreaded the pump. I dreaded using it. I dreaded looking down and seeing what little bit of milk I got and then beating myself up because I'd go on social media and I'd see these women that were able to get 8 ounces in one pump session and I was lucky if I could get 3. And I would beat myself up that I wasn't good enough and I couldn't do this and it was so hard and I was doing these supplements and all these things and it wasn't working. And I think a big part of that was the mental shift for me, the burden and the strain I put on myself to say that I had to do it a certain way. And then it was that negativity that I had. Oh, it's not going to work. I'm not going to get enough milk. It doesn't matter if I drink my water because that's not going to do anything because it hasn't done it. And I've done this and I've done that and it's just not working. Why can't I do this? And just all the negative things that we can think about, I probably said to myself in that first year, those first couple months trying to pump. Now fast forward to having my third and I really worked on changing that and having that positive self-talk of I'm going to have a great pump session. I'm going to get what I get and that's going to be great. This is extra. My baby is fed. I live in a place where I can get my hands on formula if I need it and my baby will get nourished. Whether I am able to supply the milk or not, I know I can feed my baby. And being accepting of it and knowing that this is okay and what I can produce is okay. And realizing too that 3 ounces is normal. 3 ounces is normal. There's nothing wrong with that. And let me tell you, doing these little changes I made, getting the pump that I wanted, that worked so much better for me. Like I think I got lucky with that the pump I wanted did actually work. But it also, again, mindset, I wanted that pump. I was excited to use that pump because it was hands-free and it seemed cool and it was lightweight and less pieces and just, less of a headache. And I started doing the positive things and telling myself, this is great. And then when I would pump, and if I did get 3 ounces, I would be, wow, I got 3 ounces today. This is great. Instead of, I only got 3. I would be excited about it. And I would celebrate it and celebrate the fact that my body was able to produce something. And I was able to do this because it changes. Day to day it changes. And, your ability to know, oh, well, I did this or I didn't do that, and that's why. It's so hard to be able to pinpoint exactly what made or didn't make your nursing or pumping experience work. So being accepting and being grateful for what my body was able to produce and knowing that my baby is healthy and fed and taken care of really took a lot of that burden off. And then lo and behold, I was able to get like 8 ounces on one side. Like I would pump 3 times a day, and I had like those 32-ounce mason jars. And I would fill a mason jar in one day just from pumping 3 times. And I was just in awe of this. Like, how in the world is this happening? How is it that with my first, I cried and I could barely get 3 ounces from both sides together, and now here I am getting 8 on one side? How is that possible? And I really, really, really think that the mental mind piece of it, the shift that I had to do around pumping and how I viewed it and how I viewed myself, was a huge factor. Huge factor. And when it comes to nursing or deciding to formula feed, again, don't beat yourself up in what you're doing or what you can't do. I primarily nursed my third, and then I pumped those 3 times a day for extra milk because I knew I was having a surgery and I wanted to have a little bit of a stash to help her transition over to formula, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to produce and save enough. I didn't have the freezer room. Okay. I did not have the room nor the funds to go buy a chest freezer. So I can only have so much milk. And I was able to pump and save about 2 months, maybe 2.5 months worth of milk. And I was grateful for that. Even with this shift of being positive and being grateful for what I was able to do, pumping still took a bit of a toll on me. I still was like tired by it and just, I have to do it again. And then I'm like, okay, no, I need to be positive about this. Like, I'm doing this. This is why. These are my reasons, and trying to make that change. But over time, it was still hard to do. And I give moms that pump full time like so much credit, because I had such a hard time with pumping and just being able to do it and then accepting of it. And it just hurt more than just regular nursing. So just big kudos to you moms that have pumped full time. I have no idea how you guys have been able to do it, because I don't think I could. And when it came to nursing, right, I nursed all of my babies as long as I could. My first one, I went back to corporate, so I only had my 12 weeks of FMLA, so that wasn't very long. My second, I nursed for a bit, but then stress and strain and other things got in the way, and mental blocks again stopped me from being able to continue to nurse him after, I think, 4 or 5 months old. And then we started formula feeding. And that's what it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. He is super healthy. There's nothing wrong with him. He's a great little spunky kid. He's my little mischief maker. And the fact that he had formula and whole milk, because he was during the formula shortage and we had to supplement with vitamins and whole milk a couple times, he's fine. No concerns. And for me, nursing was still hard at times. But I was fortunate enough for my second and third, I had the same lactation consultant, and we learned that I needed to use a shield those first couple of weeks. And it made quite the difference for me. And then I was able to transition off of the shield, which was great. Another really big shift that occurred with my nursing experience was my confidence. I had more confidence in what I was doing and that it was working and that I was producing enough to feed my baby, that I was able to kind of push back with the doctors. And I had a different pediatrician for my second and third, and I think that made a difference as well, because I wasn't in this state of fear of, okay, well, you need to weigh the baby before you feed them, and then you need to weigh the baby after you feed them, because we need to know how many ounces that they've gained to know that as a nursing mother that you're producing and giving your baby enough food. And I said to that the second time around. Like, I'm not doing that. He's growing. His charts say that he is growing. He's following one of your curves. And realistically, in my opinion, I think the curves are stupid, just like BMI is a waste of time. If the baby is showing an increase, they're healthy. If they're following a curve, I personally, I don't freaking care because they're increasing. Their weight's going up, their height's going up, their head circumference is going up. They're healthy, then they're fine. They're not screaming their heads off because they're starving and I'm not feeding them, right? If I nursed my child and when I was done nursing and they delatched and they were screaming, I'd put them back on and feed them some more. The body knows, okay, and will produce it. But if that baby is screaming and they don't want to latch and they are not connecting that way anymore, then yeah, you know what? I'm going to go buy some formula and I'm going to feed that baby. And if that baby stops crying, then okay, I know that it was because I wasn't producing enough milk anymore. And I know that the whole point of weighing the baby is to prevent yourself from getting to that step or that level of, okay, the baby's screaming and they're not latching anymore. Maybe it's because I need a supplement. I know that that's the reason behind it, but I feel that sometimes some doctors overuse it and scare moms into thinking that they can't do it. And that really drives me crazy because a lot of this, like I have said 100 times here, is based on your mental state and based on that positive versus negative mindset in relation to nursing and pumping. And this fear that they instill, that they harbor and just manifest is so bad. And making mothers, new moms especially, just feel so terrible. I've been feeling inadequate and just not good enough. I hate it. And knowing that you have this internal voice, this mom gut feeling, you know, you're gonna know, right? You're gonna question it, and you're going to know whether or not that baby is hungry. Like, trust your gut. Your gut says, no, that baby's hungry. No, that cry means that they're hungry. Oh, no, they're fussing at night. That means that they're hungry. Oh, no, they're teething. No, they're fine. No, they're this. You're gonna know. Don't let them tell you otherwise. You're gonna know. And I just encourage you to trust your gut, trust your instincts. And if needed, change pediatricians. Because that's what I did. My first pediatrician, she argued with me on everything I did. And argued about how it was wrong or how it wasn't enough or this wasn't working. And I was just sick of it, and we changed pediatricians. I'm like, I don't want to go to the pediatrician and have it be a battle every time I step in that door. Because I'm trying to do what I think is right for my child and what's right for me. Because my oldest had health issues. He is asthmatic and has allergies, and he had ear infections, and so many ear infections that he got tubes at 11 months old. And the arguments that we had to go through about allergies and asthma and tubes and all of these things. Because she was right and I was wrong, and that was not correct. That I now have a new pediatrician, and she's so much better, and the experience has been so much more of a discussion where I can voice my concerns and I can tell her the research that I've done and the things that I'm thinking and feeling, and my mom gut is telling me, and then she's able to, you know, bring the doctor science and those things and say, this is where I agree, this is where I disagree. These are some other articles that maybe you want to look into, but in the end she knows that it's my decision, and she's doing her best to educate me and give me the tools so that I can make those decisions instead of arguing with me and just saying, no, you're wrong. And it's having that support system that can also just be so helpful in making the difference in how this experience can go. And knowing that nursing can be hard and rewarding at the same time. And then it came to formula. And when it comes to formula for me, it was knowing that I was giving them something that was nutrient based or strong nutrition in it, is a better term. And not just full of chemicals and fake stuff and processed things and whatever. So I took my time and I did my research and I found a brand that I was comfortable with. Now, the one that I picked, does that mean that my kid had liked it and enjoyed it? No, it doesn't. I had to find a different option because I found the one that I thought was the best that I could get. And then he didn't like it and it didn't agree with his stomach. And we had to find something else. And that is what it is, right? They're still healthy. They're still fine. I just had to change it up a little bit and find the right formula that I was comfortable with feeding him and that he was able to handle as well. But like I was saying, the most important thing here is that your baby's fed. However you do it, whatever that journey looks like for you, And I'm not going to go into, baby-led weaning and cereals and jarred canned foods and stuff like that. I'm not going to go there, but your journey that you choose with your baby is your choice. And we can't let other people, society, social media, family members dictate what we can and can't do and what that journey is going to look like. And there can be so much pressure to just give up and do formula. Or you have to nurse. You just have to figure out how to make it work. You need to drink more water. You're not drinking enough. Well, I'm drinking almost 200 ounces of water and it's not doing it. There's something else that's going on. And that's okay. But it's these people from the outside looking in, passing that judgment, and then we start passing that judgment on ourselves and taking it and internalizing it and causing it to turn into this big, massive storm of just negativity that we can't get this cloud to go away. That can really, really dampen our experience, our bonding, and our ability to be mom, to heal physically, emotionally, mentally from having a baby and to now taking care of said baby, because I honestly believe that 9 out of 10 births have some level of traumatic experience to them, especially if you have them in an institution and hospital, because that's just how it goes. Unfortunately, that's our society right now. I think home births can be, in some ways, a little calmer, but you have to be the right person for that too. My second and my third were both C-sections, and there was nothing I could do about that to prevent them from being a C-section. Now, I know VBAC is an option for a lot of women, and I tried for those, but my second was transverse and was not happening. There was no way. And then my third was breached, but something like, that mom gut told me it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to work. So we voluntarily did a C-section with the third because my gut told me this was a bad idea to try to have a VBAC right now and that it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to work very well. And it's fine. That's okay. Those are the choices, and it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things because they're here, they're healthy, and they're not going to be, there's not a label on them that says how they were born. There's no label on them that says that they were nursed or formula fed or pumped milk or whatever. People aren't going to be able to tell. And in the grand scheme of things, like I said, this is 1 year of their life. So you need to do what you need to do to be mom, to feed them, to take care of yourself, and to take care of them, whatever that looks like, whatever method that might be for you. Now, before we go, if you have questions on this, or you want me to go in more depth, or maybe you have specific issues or concerns about your nursing journey and you want to talk to someone, send me a DM at the Jessa Ray on Instagram, and I'd love to connect and talk to you about it and see if I have any other support that I could offer or tools or things that might work for you. Otherwise, my last bit of advice would be to join some sort of community, go to those lactation clubs and get to know other mamas and see what their journey looks like, because they might have some tools or some tricks that might work for you as well, and you might know something, a tool or trick that might work for someone else too. So don't forget, mama, you got this, and we'll talk next time. Hey mama, thanks for hanging out with me today. I know you have a lot going on, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen. I hope this episode gives you new energy to tackle the day. If so, could you leave a review and subscribe to the podcast so that you never miss an episode? That would mean the world to me. I'd also love to connect with you on Instagram, so send me a DM and let me know if this episode was helpful. I love hearing from you. Remember, mama, you got this. Until next time, I'm Jessa Ray, and this is Caught Up in Motherhood.